On this episode of the Ask Mike Reinold Show, we talk about whether or not DPT schools should be paying clinical sites to accept their students. The Ask Mike Reinold Show. Helping people feel better, move better, and perform better. Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of the Ask Mike Reinold Show. We're up in Boston, Massachusetts at Champion PT and Performance. Dan Pope, Lenny McCreena, Dave Tilley, and Mike Scaduto here answering your questions. All of us from the Performance Physical Therapy team. I just want to say that. Here at Champion, rocking away, right? Before we begin, Lenny is going to introduce the students, but with our new segment, Fun Fact segment by Mike Scaduto. Mike, give us a fun fact for the episode.
Come back to me in a few minutes.
All right.
Giraffes have an 8-foot tongue.
This is unedited.
Yeah, right. This is pretty good. I kind of alluded last week in the episode that we're
starting a whole new podcast.
Yeah. He had to do his research.
All right, Len, who do we have for students today?
We're going to go Karamay Sheft first. We always do ladies first, right? Karamay Sheft from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, the home of Vanderbilt University, which is where Karamay may have done an undergrad something, right?
Vandy undergrad,
Belmont,
Karamay, doctorate.
All in with Nashville. And we also have Nick Jacopello. Nick, where are you from, actually? We don't even know where you're from.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. From New Jersey.
I thought he said
but goes to
Egypt.
school in New York.
Nick
just joined us a couple hours ago, and we're still getting to know him.
Jersey takeover.
He was here a week,
Jersey
and he took a vacation day already, so we're happy with Nick.
Wait, when did he take a vacation?
Friday.
On the day I had a vacation?
Yeah,
Wait, what were you doing Friday?
I had my sister's graduation.
Okay.
Right.
How many sisters do you have?
Just one.
Legit. That's legit.
I mean, how much she's going to graduate several times in her life, right? Like,
College graduation.
It was pre-approved by Toro. They gave me a free lawnmower because of the pre-approval.
The bull.
Whatever.
Wait, can we not do that sign? What's bull? Bull. This is bull in sign language, right? From the side?
No,
I think that's bull.
Why would you
Did you know that? I thought it's from the side. Well, because
Fun fact.
that's anyway. All right. Sorry. Yeah.
Carry on.
We'll talk later. That's our fun fact. All right. What do we got for a question today?
All right. Marcus from Seattle. Emerging topic here. Should DPT programs pay clinics to host clinical rotations for their students?
Yes.
Is this reasonable or ethical?
Reasonable and ethical.
I have seen this. I have seen this online a little bit. I forget where I saw it. Maybe the DPT student Facebook group or something. But I did see this. But I don't even know if this is really true. But the concept of a school paying a clinical site to accept their students, and first off, before we talk about this. And actually, to address your last question, is it ethical? Of course it's ethical. There's nothing unethical about this. Let's not make this like too aggressive of a topic. There's nothing unethical about that. It's quite ethical to exchange services for a fee. But is this really happening anywhere?
I haven't heard of it.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So my third rotation, it actually did happen. My school paid, but it was an acute care hospital. Bulls, Toro. It was an acute care hospital, and in New York, there's a lot of PT schools, as we know, and acute care rotations can be hard to come by, so they did pay the rotation.
I can keep this in mind.
How
much?
Wow, so they saw market saturation and said, like, sure, highest bidder. Okay, again, not unethical. Creepy? Weird? Yeah, I mean, it's not unethical. But
My gut instinct is like good idea because I can see the reason for helping out, but it definitely shouldn't be open bidding. It shouldn't be like the highest person pays because like we have monster schools with huge budgets just like pouring cash
this
on
is
people.
the wild west
I think if it's a flat fee and like the APT agrees on it, I think that's definitely something because I think time for service, like Mike said, is something that's good, but not highest bidder capitalism because we got crazy stuff with like venture capital. Like not any school like has the money. It's like 5,000. Like
I don't think any
anything.
VC angels are gonna.
Well, I just meant bigger programs. I just meant bigger schools.
I'm seeing it now.
The poor little Toros of the world can't compete with like Alabama.
We'll do it for this much, and we'll throw in a multiplier of CBD oil for every student, right? We'll get them all going.
Yeah, where does it start? Where does it stop?
Yeah.
It's such a slippery slope. I feel
Yeah.
like.
And so it seems super creepy, right? But
Yeah,
like that being
breeds
said,
corruption.
maybe it gets there at the end. I mean, I don't know. So Len, you're our ACCICC
LOL.
Of the E. to the I to the E.
Right.
I mean, how many students do we not take?
There's a decent amount. I get emails every week, I feel like, looking for student placement, and we book out pretty quickly. But to answer the question, I think some schools give us something, whether or not it's access to their library, that has a value to it, so we can do research papers. I think one school, Northwestern, may give $100 credit to the CI for taking the student, and they can apply it towards a school or their APTA membership. So that happens every once in a while too. But otherwise, my gut instinct is, I don't know about having the fee, about having it.
Yeah.
The students are here to learn. They're paying for, although they are paying the school, and the school is not utilizing
And
them.
the school is charging
making a lot of money
enormous
off of it.
amount.
So I can see that. The student is also generating revenue for the clinic. So the clinic is making money because, well, not us, but a lot of clinics will overbook slots and maybe even give the student their own caseload. You know what I mean?
Right. So in that, you can
and it
argue
says it in the CPI.
You can argue the opposite, that they shouldn't be demanding money for that.
Correct, which was going to be my point, is they're making more revenue for the facility. So, I don't know, I'm torn with it. I think we've gotten away with it.
Think about the logistics of that. Like, you're paying for a semester for us to make money, like from a clinic's point of view.
Right, no, I know.
Well,
To maintain your student status.
You know what? What if it came with some criteria? Because I will say, look, everybody, even like as a CI, right? Like, and it depends on the environment you're in, maybe the clinic's in. But what if like you did say like, all right, Mondays from 8 to 10 a.m. we're blocking out clinical time, and we're not doing clinical time, and we're literally just going to train the student for like 2 hours of dedicated one-on-one time.
Agree.
You know what I mean? And then you say, what's the value of that? Well, we get reimbursed at X, and we get X per hour, so the value of that is that. To me, that seems like a win-win for everyone. I can't imagine that would ever happen.
No, I know. Yeah, it would happen in some facilities, but
I think it's tricky both ways, because you get some facilities who are taking advantage of students, right?
Right.
So they come in, they give them a huge patient caseload, and then a lot of times the student didn't feel like they learned anything. It was waste. So they go back and they tell, DCEs, DCCEs, I don't know how many C's there are, but basically what happens, and I've seen this happen a little bit in Colorado, is that they're flipping it. So now basically, Physiotherapy Associates or one of those companies, I guess they don't exist anymore, Select, would have to pay to have the student there, right? But then the student's not getting the result that they want. So
Right.
it's not really helpful from that perspective. I can't tell you, I've had like a lot of different students where I'd really like to help them out more, but I'm like, I can't really devote more time and effort to this. I have way too much stuff going on. I'm not getting home. My wife is mad at me because I'm already like slacking those responsibilities, and I'm trying to teach this person
Right.
as well. It would be phenomenal if I could kind of take some time out and actually teach you and do a better job. And I think that's something that students really want. So I never really understood the model. I thought the model was kind of stupid. It's not really as helpful it could be for the student, right? So I think it's something that would potentially be helpful. Give me an incentive to actually teach.
Right. Well, and not feel like, and it's not that you're teaching more and you're taking extra time. I guess some people will double dip and still, bill people, still make money, right? If you're a complete salaried person in like a big organization, then you have no incentive to work harder. So you'd love to get out of that and just drink coffee and read a journal article with your student. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to like still do that and get paid, but like, some people will probably hustle and turn that into a good thing. But all of a sudden now you're gonna have like 3 students at a time.
yeah.
Like as a CI, and you're like it's gonna get weird, right? All of a sudden
It creates incentive to get more students in the
absolutely.
door.
Yeah, but who's getting the money?
At what
Is
cost?
the CI getting the money, or is the clinic getting the money?
It better not be the CI. That's
Yeah, is it a bonus? Is it a bonus that
Right.
like the CI gets?
You'd have to figure out a way to do that. So, man, so as you can see just from our basic conversation here, there's a lot of big question marks here. Going back to your question, is it ethical? I think it's completely ethical. I don't see anything wrong with the ethics behind this, because there are some good ways to do it. Can you unethically screw this up? Absolutely. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, but I don't think it's ethically wrong to do it. What was the other thing they asked? They said something unethical.
Reasonable.
Is it reasonable? I think it's reasonable, and I think there's an interesting way to do it. But I'm
Is
just
it necessary?
I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, the system's been going on for a long time. If you could guarantee that somebody got extra attention or extra learning or something along those lines, like let's say we started something where every Monday morning we dissect this cadaver, right? Now all of a sudden we're gonna buy a cadaver every quarter. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, then there's like extra expenses involved. So I do think if this could be implemented with objectives and maybe something like that, we could maybe use it to our benefit and actually have a better, more rich environment.
But students already have objectives in their CPI.
I've never read that. Have you? It's the objective.
Who's demanding the money? Are the clinics saying?
Yeah, well,
besides like a clinic like that in New York, but like Joe Schmo Clinic in Nebraska, or us in Waltham, where we have we get a lot of students. Like it's never really crossed my mind to charge the school, even though you guys are paying the school, but.
I think we should start asking.
Well, it's an interesting concept.
No.
But like physicians who are taking on med students or residents, or they don't get paid to take on those students, right? It's just part of the education of the residents are getting paid.
The whole system is super interesting.
It's short-sighted too to think that we're not benefiting from their presence. Right? I mean, their
100%.
presence help us in a ton of ways. I mean, and I'm not just saying like clinically, like of course it helps us with clinically. I know we use students quite a bit to like help us with stressful situations with people, or if we're like trying to juggle like somebody's demanding extra attention of us, so we can, you know, have them pitch in with somebody else, or give us a break because we're grinding that day. Like Dave's got a day where he's got 20 people every half hour, it's like crazy, right? Like so we use it to benefit us.
20 a half hour.
But their interaction with us, they're talking with us, they're challenging us to like continue to learn and stuff like that, right? And I think that's the part that I think we all grow.
Is if we have to educate the student, we better be on our game, so it's an incentive for us to stay on top of things, stay on the literature, to be able to interact with the student and present it in a way that they understand the material. So I think everybody wins out of this. So I'm still I feel weird about the whole money concept.
Like doing like a 2-week or a 4-week or something like that, a postgraduate mentorship program that comes in, you have dedicated like didactic time and like stuff like that. You want to pay like top dollar for that? I'm all on board. But for a student that's like trying to just get their curriculum to pass the boards and enter the profession, I just don't know if we need it yet. But man, if you implement it the right way, it could be really cool for everyone. But any other thoughts? Make sense?
Yeah.
I think that was good. Students, any thoughts on your part?
Me and May would like the other way around, so we would like pay us.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. My God, you guys are in such a financial issue.
I mean, at Northeastern we had co-ops. There were paid co-ops. That's different than your clinical rotation because it's not for school credit per se.
Right.
But it is a paid internship, and I don't know if we want to pay clinical students or not.
I personally think that we need to do a better job of the transition between graduating, I'm done with my boards, to I'm my own clinician. I think that is very poorly handled for everybody. I think that the program should maybe build in a per, I don't know, 50% of your salary or something like that for like 8 to 12 weeks where you can shadow a clinic or you can work somewhere you're going to work and have it be like you get didactic time, you get hands-on patient care, but you also get time to review the cases. I think that that's something that we're doing not a great job of, and it leads to a huge amount of like really early frustration for young students who are, because they're safe to treat, they pass their boards, but now it's like, okay, what's my job? It's like now I got to learn my actual craft, sports, acute, whatever it is, and I think that's where people fall apart.
And that's after they've done an internship, and there has to be a SNF or an inpatient, an acute care, and then they may get an outpatient, and then maybe a fourth. Some clinics or some schools are doing a fourth internship where they specialize. But I don't know if it's enough in clinic time if you're forcing them to go to an acute care to get that exposure and force them to go to a SNF.
Totally.
You
know what I mean?
The answer can't be a 12-month residency.
No.
There's got to be something in the middle.
But the perfect example is one of the last students was worried. She wanted to take Mike's course and take some other stuff to get ready for post-board life, but she was like, I had so much to study for the boards. If we took on that person back for 8 weeks at 50% caseload and you had 6 hours to do this and 6 hours for that in your day, you could like think, process, learn, brainstorm cases, study courses. Like I think that'd be very helpful. So I think we should try to do that more. Maybe a financial.
And we should be paid for
Maybe we should open that up for Champion. We should
We've been talking about a
10-week
program for the longest
immersion
time.
program.
We got to figure it out, but awesome. Good.
Grad immersion.
Great episode. Good question. I mean, I'd be interested to see how this develops. I don't know if we have an answer. I think we've had a lot of good thoughts on it, but we'll see. But head to mikereinold.com, click on that podcast link, and you can fill out the form to keep asking us great questions like this. Be sure to go to iTunes and Spotify to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll see you on a future episode. Thank you.